Leila Monroe had learned to be invisible, just another intern in a glass tower filled with perfect smiles and polished lies. But when a careless mistake lands hot coffee on the firm's most feared assistant, humiliation follows fast. The snickers, the stares, the whispers. What no one notices is the silent man in the tailored suit, watching it all unfold, the one who helps her up, offers her a napkin, and asks her name. Leila doesn't know he owns the building. He doesn't know she's the storm he never saw coming. Sometimes, fate spills more than coffee. Leila Monroe tightened her grip on the tray of coffee cups, weaving through the crowded office hallway. Her worn flat squeaked softly against the marble floor, heart hammering in her chest. "Please, don't trip today," she whispered to herself. Her first internship in a real law firm, and already 3 assistants had made her cry. She turned the corner and collided straight into Tara Langston. The tray flew, the coffee splashed, and a steaming splash painted Tara's ivory silk blouse. Silence hit like a thunderclap. "Oh my God," Tara hissed, looking down in horror. "Are you blind or just cheap and clumsy?" Leila's face flushed. I'm so sorry, Ms. Langston, I didn't— Don't you dare touch me," Tara snapped, swatting Leila's shaking hands away. A few junior associates stifled laughter from the doorway. "These shoes cost more than your monthly rent." Leila knelt quickly, gathering the cups with trembling fingers. Her eyes burned, but she blinked back the tears. She couldn't cry. Not here. Then, a hand reached down, a man's. "Let me help," came a voice, low, calm, commanding. She looked up. A tall figure in a charcoal suit crouched beside her, his eyes steady and soft, not mocking, not judging. "No harm done," he said gently, as he passed her a clean napkin from his briefcase. "Accidents happen." Leila managed a stiff nod. "Thank you. Mr.?" Eli Shaw," he said with a quiet smile. "New around here?" She didn't know then, couldn't have. But the man kneeling beside her, wiping coffee from her hand, was Elias Wolfe, secret majority owner of Wolfe and Barnes. And this was the exact moment everything in her life began to shift. Leila didn't expect to see him again. Yet there he was, the next morning, waiting by the building's front doors, holding 2 takeaway coffees like it was the most casual thing in the world. "Peace offering," Eli said, raising the cup. "You looked like someone who prefers strong coffee and stronger boundaries." She hesitated, then smiled, just a little. "That obvious, huh?" Only to someone who sees what others ignore. They sat on the low concrete ledge outside the building. The city buzzed around them, a blur of suits and cell phones, but their little corner felt suspended in quiet. "No offense," Leila said, "but why are you talking to me? You're clearly—" "Not an intern." He chuckled. "Let's just say I'm observing the firm from a different lens right now." That wasn't really an answer, but she let it slide. Something about his presence made her feel safe, like she didn't have to pretend. She told him about Zane, her little brother, his routines, his brilliance, the way the world misunderstood him. She told him about law school, the night shifts, the ramen dinners. And he listened. Really listened. When she asked about him, he stayed vague. "Family's complicated," he said softly, "and money makes people lie. So I keep my world small." Leila nodded, understanding more than he knew. As they parted, he touched her wrist lightly. "Same time tomorrow?" She nodded before she could second-guess herself. Back at her desk, Tara walked by with a smug smirk. "Cute coffee date. Hope you remembered to clock in." But Leila didn't hear her. All she could think about was the way Eli had looked at her. Like she wasn't just another invisible intern, like she mattered. And that terrified her more than anything. The boardroom smelled like polished wood and pressure. Leila clutched her notebook, heart pounding in her chest. Her name had been plucked from a pile of interns for a partner shadow initiative, a 1 in 100 chance. She didn't question it. She needed the opportunity. Zane's medication bills weren't going to pay themselves. A tall figure stood at the head of the room, back turned, writing something on the digital screen. Then he turned, and the air left her lungs. "Welcome," Elias Wolfe said, smiling. Leila froze. Eli, number not Eli, Elias freaking Wolfe. The Elias Wolfe, youngest majority owner in the firm's history. Billionaire recluse, power personified. Her, Eli. Their eyes locked. His smile faltered, just for a split second. The rest of the room didn't notice, but she did. He looked at her like a man trying to apologize without speaking. But it was too late. After the meeting, she stormed past the glass-walled office where he waited. He caught up in the hallway. "Leila, wait! You lied to me," she hissed, whirling on him. "This whole time, you let me think you were some sweet, broke consultant. I didn't want the title to get in the way. But you watched me get humiliated. Watched her." Her voice cracked. "You knew, and you still said nothing." He reached out. She stepped back. "Don't," she whispered. "I don't know who you are." He watched her go, the door slamming behind her like a verdict. Leila sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, laptop open, fingers frozen on the keyboard. She hadn't texted Elias, in days. Every time she tried, the words turned to ash. "How was the firm today?" Zane asked from the corner, not looking up from the circuitry project spread across his desk. She sighed. "Exhausting, complicated." Zane adjusted his headphones. "You talk different when you're lying." Leila paused. "You always know, don't you?" "I pay attention," he said flatly. "Unlike the world?" She closed the laptop. "I met someone who turned out to be someone else." He finally looked at her. "Do you still like him?" "I don't know," she whispered. Zane was silent for a moment, then stood, walked to her desk, and pulled up her firm's portal on her laptop. "What's his name?" "Zane." "What's his name?" "Elias Wolfe." Zane's fingers moved like lightning. "Give me 10 minutes. "Zane, no hacking." "I'm not breaking anything," he said calmly. "I'm checking public data for your protection." 7 minutes later, he turned the screen toward her. "Your CEO filed a sealed ethics audit and had Tara Langston flagged for financial irregularities 2 weeks ago, before he ever told you who he was." Leila blinked. "So he's cleaning house?" "He's been quietly fixing the company before you even got that internship," Zane said. "I think he's a good guy. Weird taste in secrets, though." She stared at the screen. Maybe he wasn't the villain after all. Monday morning came with tension so thick it wrapped around Leila's throat like a scarf she couldn't untie. She stepped into Wolfe & Barnes, and every head turned. Phones buzzed, whispers rose, screens flickered with a still image, grainy but clear. Leila, stepping into Elias Wolfe's penthouse, captioned, "Sleeping her way up?" Her stomach flipped. She hadn't told anyone. How did they? Tara. Tara had leaked it. By lunchtime, the whispering turned to outright stares. Someone at the coffee bar clapped sarcastically as she passed. Didn't know internships came with penthouse perks. Leila held her head high, barely. At 2 p.m., her office phone rang. "Boardroom, now," said a voice she didn't recognize. When she entered, the full board of Wolfe & Barnes was seated, and Elias stood at the head, hands folded, face unreadable. One of the partners gestured. "Ms. Monroe, do you deny that you are involved with Mr. Wolfe?" Leila's lips parted, but Elias raised a hand. "I'll speak," he said. His voice cut through the air like thunder. "Yes," Elias said. "She and I are in a relationship, a personal one, which began before she was hired. I recommended her internship, not to reward her, but because I saw potential the rest of you were too arrogant to notice." Gasps, a few coughs. Elias continued. "She had no idea who I was. If you're going to fire someone, fire me. But let's call this what it is, an attempt to shame a woman for being brilliant, kind, and human." He turned to Leila. "And if loving her is against policy," he smiled faintly, "then maybe it's time we rewrite the damn policy." The city lights blurred outside the car window as Leila stared ahead, silent. Elias hadn't spoken since they left the boardroom. His hand rested on the gear shift, barely brushing hers. "Do you regret it?" she asked quietly. He turned to her. "Standing up for you? Never. Hiding who I was every damn day." His voice cracked slightly at the end. She looked at him, really looked. Not the suit, not the job. The man beneath it, the one who met her in the rain with coffee and a quiet smile, the one who listened when no one else did. When they reached his penthouse, she stepped in slowly, memories flooding her, the laughter, the late-night talks, the kisses that made her feel seen. On the kitchen island was a small, velvet box. She froze. Elias followed her gaze and rubbed the back of his neck. "It's not what you think, it's not a ring, not yet." He opened it. Inside was a tiny gold key. "To this place," he said. "Only if you want it. No strings, no expectations, just a safe place for you. And Zane." Leila's breath caught. He took a step closer. "You deserve something that's yours. No more hiding, no more secrets. If you walk away, I'll understand. But if you stay, I'll spend every day proving I was never pretending." She didn't answer right away. She just walked to him and wrapped her arms around his waist, resting her head against his chest. His heart was racing. So was hers.